village burnt to the ground. Hell on earth. Just a few days walk from here. You have to hear this.
Who is it? What are you poking around that door for? Eh?
They burned down the whole village. Killed all the villagers.
Missing, I
And
know
drove
who to
the
go and
local
see.
lord out of his own castle. You see what that gentleman from and start praying. Only God can save us from the
Good day. What do you want, you yokel? Speak up or get lost.
I heard you could use a helping hand at the forge.
I could. My last two hands, well, they're not worth mentioning. And what with the wedding coming up, the work is piling up. Ah, what do they call you?
Henry.
I'm Radovan. You should know, Henry. The blacksmithing isn't for everyone. Have you done it before?
Yeah. I basically grew up in the forge. My father was a swordsmith, and not just any. He even forged swords for the nobility.
For the nobility, eh? Well, that kind of experience will come in very handy for me indeed. As it happens, I have to forge a wedding present for young Lord Semine. A fine sword.
So you'll take me on?
Hold your horses. I'll have to try you out first. You could forge me a hunting sword as a test, so I can see if you can make a straight blade. That shouldn't give you much trouble if your father was a swordsmith, should it?
Sure thing. I can get started right away.
Great. Find some iron and get started then.
Iron?
You can't make a sword out of butter, but if you don't have your own stuff, you can get everything from the chest in my forge. Stop faffing about and get to work. Stop faffing about and get to work.
You have to hear this. Silver scarlet, they say. Without warning. Attack.
Get to it. I want to see how you'll fare. Furnace is cold now. Give it a practice try. Some things, like swords, are too long to fit in the fire. You have to heat it up bit by bit. Try poking it around for a bit. Now get the furnace nice and hot. There's a lever above you. Give it a pull. It works the bellows. Tell the temperature by the color, but you won't be able to tell what's in the fire. You have to take it out from time to time and take a look. Try it out. See? That's exactly the straw color we want. You've got talent, lad. Now heat up the whole thing. The whole thing is heated up now, so come over to the anvil. Try moving the sword along the anvil so you can get the hang of it. Now take the hammer and try hitting it a few times. See the sparks? That's the sign of a good strike. The more sparks, the better. Also, you can hammer with different degrees of power. A stronger hit will do more, but it'll tire you out faster. Try giving it a few blows, as hard as you can, so I can see how strong you are. That's got a nice ring to it. Of course, if it was all about hitting an anvil with a hammer, any dolt could do it. You've got to hammer the workpiece evenly. One hit next to the other. So what then? If you can't handle it, I'll have you make nails instead. Very nice. You're doing just fine. But when I say evenly, I mean it. A sword has two sides, like a lot of other things, including myself. Turn it over and continue on the other side. Nice. Now try forging it on both sides. The closer it is to being finished, the more it will take on the shape you want. It'll cool off soon anyway.
How's your sister?
Fine. Why'd you ask?
I heard she...
It's cooled now.
I just wanted
You can't do it all in one go. You've got to put it back in the furnace from time to time. Sometimes you've got to go there and back all day. But it's all part of the craft. Now, get back to the forge and heat it all up again, like before. Henry, stop gaping into the fire like a fortune teller and heat it up. The whole thing is heated up now, so come over to the anvil. Hear that? Besides the sparks, you can tell a good strike by the sound it makes. See how it's taking on the right shape? That's how you can tell it's almost finished. Now, I've got a piece of advice for you. Hammer to a rhythm. When I hammer a piece to a beat, the work goes by easier. Sometimes I'll whistle to myself to keep the rhythm going. The ring you want. There you go. You've got it finished. All that's left is to temper it, and the sword will be done. The rest is just tweaking. Right. Let's have a look. Very nice work. Your father taught you the trade well.
He'd certainly be happy to hear that.
If you carry on hammering as well as you did today, you've definitely got a job here. Even so, keep in mind, it's all about making sure every strike does its job. That's why you can't let it get cold, or keep striking the same spot. If you work evenly, each strike falling right next to the last one, you can't go wrong. Got that? Or is there something else you want to ask about?
How do I know a good strike from a bad one?
By the sparks that fly up, and by the ring. It rings out with a different sound when you do it right.
How will I know it's finished?
Notice the shape. The closer you are to finishing, the more precise the shape it will have.
Thanks. That's all I need to know.
You can sleep in the chamber by the woodshed. And there's a chest where you can keep your things. And of course, you can use the forge anytime you want. Any questions?
Where can I get materials?
You can buy some essentials from me. But if you want to make a fancy sword with lots of ornamentation, you'll have to look elsewhere. This is just a village, you know. The locals ain't after luxury. And they can't afford it neither.
What now?
What do you think? You're not going to be idle. I'll find you some work to do right away. You're pretty good at swords, but what the locals really need is axes and horseshoes. Right. Here are some simple drawings that show what they're both supposed to look like. And some iron. You can get down to it right away.
Just like that? You aren't going to help me?
Sacre, lad. I chose you because you already know a thing or two. I'm not going to look over your shoulder all bloody day. You take care of these smaller jobs. Forge away as long as you're able, and then sell it all. Once you've made some coin and feel like being out in the open again, I'll give you some more interesting work. Excuse me? What can I do for you? It's about those two idiot hands of mine, Venser and Franzi. They drove off with a cart full of goods towards Semine, and they never came back.
Do you want me to find them?
Just so. But more importantly, I want to know where my cart ended up, and especially the cargo. Go to Semine and find out what the bloody hell happened.
Have you any idea which way they might have gone? I could have a look along the way. Maybe their cart broke down or something.
There's only one road to Semine that can take a cart. It leads from Takov to Troskovitz, and then to the south. But I've got a bad feeling they got up to no good in Semine.
All right. I'll get right on it then.
Go ahead. And if you find that pair of fools drunk, kick their asses for me.
Gladly. I'll kick some sobriety into them.
Gather round, men. Hear what I say.
The Lord be with you.
Old gods. Wonder what their names were. I see they haven't been forgotten, and the locals still worship them. I can't really blame them seeing the state of this land.
Down the whole village. We killed all the villagers and drove the local horde out to his own castle. You see what that... Just what Sigismund is doing to our lands. He wants to burn the wall.
Will you help me, Henry?
Hmm? What was that? What? Christ! My head!